Hello everyone, this is Orlando from A Collector's Dream, and today I want to celebrate an award that I got, and I'm extremely proud, extremely happy, and I just want to thank every single one of you that have watched my videos, have subscribed to my videos, have commented on my videos, whatever. Just, you know, I'm just so proud that I started YouTube last year, and this year I got the, you have been selected for the 2023 YouTube Sports Cards All-Star Team. And Eric from 4 Leaf ran this, and there were over 200 channels that participated, and it's a great thing that he did for the community. And this is what they sent. And it says, congratulations to 2023 All-Star, keep up the good work, Eric 4 Leaf. And this was the award, and this was made by Scott, our very own Scott from Reindeer Studios. And I'm gonna go ahead and carefully remove it here in the background. Put it on there with some painter's tape. So that was pretty good, kept it nice and secure here. So I'm just gonna finish removing it here carefully. Bear with me, guys. You know, I don't edit my videos, I do this live. I wanna thank everybody. I mean, it's just awesome to watch what the community does for each other and how they, you know, here it is. The 2023 YouTube All-Star Sports Cards Award. Thank you so much, Scott and Eric and everybody else who participated, and just, you know, it's a great community that we have, and it's just an awesome, awesome thing. And I never thought that it would be something like this when I first started, because, you know, I collected by myself all of my life. And then, you know, you meet all these wonderful people, and it's just friends. It's, you know, what everybody says, it's not about the subscribers, it's about the friends that you make here. So one of the things I want to show, you know, I go through this thing and I get the Sports Collectors Digest, and, you know, there's Connor Bedard there. But what I want to show here is one of the great things that are done in this hobby by our YouTube friends and our YouTube family, which I call, you know, YouTube family. And this is, I can see this is John Newman, our own John Newman. And he has paid tribute to Jefferson Burdick, the greatest collector, as far as I know, greatest collector ever. And what he has done, it's an awesome article, and he has decided that he's going to be the caretaker of Jefferson Burdick's plaque in the cemetery. And he goes on to say that, you know, he found the cemetery there. It was near New York City, and at the Hillside Memorial Cemetery in Central Square. And he visited the grave, and he saw that it was all dirty. You know, put a card there, it was all dirty. And he tried to wipe it with some wipies that he had in the car, but it didn't work too well. So he actually went home, and he came back, and he says, on Saturday morning, I made the trip and found his headstone wedged between his parents. And then he said he tried to clean it up. Years of lichen, algae, and dirt built up covered his headstone, and he wiped it clean. And then while driving home, he decided, you know, he was gonna come back and clean it up, and he did. And in the headstone, it says, it reads, one of the greatest card collectors of all time. So he has done a wonderful thing for the hobby. He also writes for this magazine. He does the live streams, he does the podcast, he does tons of stuff. So my hat's off to John Newman. I want to thank him for that. And I think every collector should thank him for that, because Jefferson Burdick was the father of card collecting. And I don't have a card that Jefferson Burdick owned, but I have a couple of cards that I've shown before, but these are also owned by some of the top collectors. And you know, there were a lot of big collectors back in the day. And this one here is Richard Merkin. And Richard Merkin was not just a card collector, and he collected a lot of Cuban cards, one of the big Cuban card collectors, but he was also an artist, a painter, just like Scott. I designed that. Thank you, Scott. So I have a couple of cards from the Richard Merkin collection, and this is the Cabanas. This is the Esteban Prats, the Cabanas cards, 1909, the earliest Cuban cards. I've shown these in my last video, but I had to show them again, just these two here. Give it a good look so you can see that these come from the Richard Merkin collection. And that's the Rafael Almeida card. And that's the back of the card there, the Aguilitas Cigarros Aguilitas. So, thanks John Newman. There's a lot of collectors, old time collectors out there, and their cards are out. You can get them and own a card from some of these collectors. So I wanted to share that. The other stuff I wanted to share is my sister gave me this old magazine from Cuba. I'm also going to do a couple of VRs at the end of this video, so stick around for those. But I'm going to go ahead and just show some of this. And this is an old magazine from Cuba called the Bohemia. And this was, you know, it's, my sister has a vintage, we're all into vintage. She has a vintage little store and online. And she sells a lot of vintage stuff like this. And, you know, not cards and stuff, but just kind of old magazines, Art Deco stuff. She's got kind of furniture and things like that in there. But anyway, she bought some of these magazines, and she gave me this because it had something on baseball there on the Cuban players. And this magazine is from Cuba. This is from 1956, and these are really desirable for their cover. And this one, unfortunately, the cover has kind of come off, but it's very desirable because people will go ahead and use that and you know, put that up on their wall and frame it really beautifully. And this is one of those drawings, and this magazine was famous for all of that. And of course the ads that it had back in the day, and I'll show you the back. And it, you know, again, this one's kind of torn up. I don't want to mess with it too much because it's very, the paper is 56, and look, you see how it's very, very thin, you know, very, very poor paper, but it has one of the tons of great pictures and things from Cuba, and you know, tons of really, really cool stuff. You know, this is, you know, Cuba doing all this artist stuff, all this stuff. And but what I wanted to get to, and I should have probably marked this before, is the page, here it is, with the New York, the Cubans here. So this has an article, I don't know if you can see it, but it has, Ahí vienen los Cubans. So it's got some of the Cuban players, and I've been very careful. I haven't really gone through this too much, but it has article about that, a couple of articles about the Cubans here playing, and going to Mexico and Cincinnati Reds. This is Dutch Dodier, I guess it says there. Oh, a catcher for the Reds, playing for the Cubans here. And this is Alvarez, and I'll have to take a good look and see who these guys are and just kind of read through the article. It's in Spanish, but it talks about the Cuban thing. So anyway, I wanted to share that little bit there. You know, this is a great little magazine. It's got some great stuff. Look at this, Coca-Cola back in the day. And these are the type of, this from 1956. The símbolo de buen gusto, symbol of good taste. And you see these guys, people dressed elegantly, drinking a Coke. This was in Cuba. So this is back in the day. Wanted to share that. This is something that, you know, it's falling apart on me because it's so fragile. But I'm gonna leave it like this so you can kind of look at the scenery. And this is the, back in the 50s, the Cuban harbor. You can see that in the background. So anyway, moving on. I have I've got two VRs that I'm gonna do today. And one of them is for Don't Talk to Robots. And he wanted us to show red cards. I mean, he said kind of your best red cards, but you know, usually red cards for modern collectors, you know, are numbered and stuff. And I don't have modern cards. For the most part, most of mine are vintage. So I'm going to show some red cards, vintage red cards. And one of my favorite teams, of course, is the Yankees. So I'm going to show just a group of red Yankees from 1959. So we're going to start with Bobby Richardson, incredible third baseman, played mostly second base with the Yankees. And again, a great team. Everybody thinks, you know, Mantle and all these guys, but these guys all contributed. You know, it wasn't just Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle. It was Bobby Richardson. It was Bill Skowron, first baseman Bill Skowron. Another red card. I love these 59s with the red borders. And they kind of did, they didn't do all the Yankees in red, but most of the Yankees are in red. And how could you forget Don Larson pitching the perfect game? Don Larson. Another great pitcher for the Yankees that, you know, you have to have an entire team if you're going to win a championship. So it says on here, 56, Don Larson. Don pitched a perfect game in the World Series. So got to include him in the red team. Another one is going to be Clete Boyer, another great player for the Yankees back in the day, and deserves to be here in the 5 red cards I'm going to share. And they're 5 red Yankees. And someone that is one of the better players, and man, this card is awesome. I got to get this one graded, is Hank Bauer. Another one of the outfielders, big time hitter. And people forget that Hank Bauer contributed a lot to those Yankee teams back in those days. You know, these are the forgotten guys. But, you know, if you look now at the World Series going on now, some of these guys that are just not the stars are really the ones that are making the show. So I wanted to show 5 red cards for Don't Talk to Robots. And since we are in football season, I mean at football, but we're heading into basketball season, sorry. Out of baseball, we're going into basketball. I figured I'd show a couple of red basketball cards, and I'll start with Wilt Chamberlain. So with that red background, Wilt Still, that's a 70-71 Wilt. And another red one, and I'll add Oscar Robertson, Big O. So we'll add that to the red pile. And I'll put a link there on my on the description so you guys can check out that channel. And I'm gonna go to the next VR. And the next VR is going to be for vintage oddball cards, Rick. And Rick wanted us to show card backs, the backs of cards. So I'm going to go ahead and show the backs of some of these cards here that I thought were kind of neat. And these are kind of cool. These are different tobacco backs. And I'll start with this one. This is Sub Rosa. And kind of play on words there. Sabrosa means delicious, but it's Sub Rosa cigarros. All tobacco, no paper. And this is from the Flag of All Nations. These are going to be from the Flag of All Nations because these are kind of cool backs. It came out, same thing as the T206, but Recruit. Oops, Yeah, come on, get that in there. Recruit Little Cigars. It's another back. Recruit Little Cigars. And another little Recruit Little Cigars. And this one, it has a like an overprint, and that has a green instead of the brown. And let's show another back of a card, and this is the Mogul Egyptian cigarettes, the Toast series. And I've shown these cards before. This is just the flags, but we're focusing on the backs. So that's the Toast series, the Mogul cigarettes. And at the front is the Toast series. So let me show you some more backs. And here's the smallest card I got. And the back is kind of cool. It's a little red card. And that's the Chocolate Baguette. El más popular, the most popular. It's a Spanish, a Cuban card. It's a 1930 Chocolate Baguette. But the back is kind of cool because it's a little red thing. It tells you it's a candy, Chocolate Baguette, the most popular candy, I guess, at the time. Here's a cool back, and this one's got like an entire history of, in this case, it's Cuba. But it's got the whole bunch of stuff in the back. It's an old I forget the year on this thing, but it's got it's from the 1800s. It's a Duke's Cameo cigarettes. So it's from the Duke series. And it's got like the coat of arms of Cuba, the Queen of Spain. But the back has a ton of information, you know, the ruler, the coat of arms. I mean, it's almost like a little book. It tells a lot of information in the back here about all that stuff that's in there. So anyway, it's kind of a cool back. Remember, in those days, a lot of times kids got that to read the backs. And another back I was going to show is this one, and I'm showing it because it says it's Adolfo Luque, but it's the greatest of Cuban pictures. And this is from the 1927 York Caramel. It's just kind of neat to see on a card saying the greatest of Cuban pictures. You know, it's like putting something, the greatest of Australian pictures or something. Cuba's just a small country, smaller than about the size of the state of Florida. So that's that. And then another one that I like in the backs are, I like these, the Topps Big cards. Again, because it's got a lot of stuff in the back. So I just love the backs. It's kind of like a headline there. And this is the Camilo Pascual one where it says that he's the strikeout king. So that's just a few of the backs that I was looking through there, and I thought I'd go ahead and highlight that. And I'll highlight also, the one that I just showed is the Cabanas back. And that one is talks about the back of the thing, and it says that it had a collection of the players of the baseball clubs, Cuban and extranjeros, que nos visiten. So what it basically says is this is the best way to form a precious collection of baseball players from different clubs, from the Cuban clubs to the foreign clubs that visit us, is by smoking the famous cigars of Cabañas. So that's what it says on that. The famous cigar Cabaña, the best way to collect that collection. And that's that. So that's about it, Rick. So that's the backs collection for Rick Vintage Oddball cards, and the red cards for Don't Talk to Robots. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching my videos. I am so thrilled that I was able to get this award. I mean, it just makes me want to continue to go on, which I will. And thank you so much, guys. Appreciate everything that you guys do, and just keep collecting, and let's make some more friends. So comment on my video, and you know, let's see if we can meet one day. Thanks everyone for watching. Truly appreciate your support, your kind comments, and like my videos. And I'll catch you on the next one. This is Orlando from A Collector's Dream, an all-star in the YouTube sports cards for 2023. Have an awesome day.